What's going on, guys? Shane here. Today I'm going to give you a thorough explanation on flexibility and a full stretching routine that you can do in order to get your kicks up higher. Now with that being said, you don't have to be able to do full splits and straddles in order to kick someone in the head. However, it will help with kick control so that you have more accurate kicks, and it's going to help with injury prevention so that you don't pull anything in your legs or hips when throwing a kick. We're going to start off with a mobility dynamic warm-up before we get into our static holding stretches, because you want to make sure your body is warm before you start going into those splits and straddles. I just woke up, so I need to make sure I get a proper warm-up in. Let's get it started. Getting started with our dynamic warm-up, I want you to remember these as like calisthenics, things like squats and lunges to warm up the muscles. Our muscles are like taffy. If it's cold and you pull it, it's going to snap. If we warm it up first, it's going to get nice and stretchy, and that's what we want. So we're going to start from the bottom with our calf raises. And with each one of these exercises, we're just going to do them for 30 seconds. Starting from the bottom, then we're going to work our way up. So after 30 seconds of calf raises, and you can go inward with the toes, outward, straight forward, then widen up the stance for squats about shoulder width apart a little bit more. And when you do your squats, you want to go nice and deep, nice and low. And the calf raises will help with mobility. It'll help you drop lower into your squat. You want to make sure that your butt goes past your knees. You want to go past that 90-degree bend. You're not going to injure your knees, just make sure you drive your knees outward, not inward. And if you don't have any extra weight, you should be fine. So we're going down into these squats again for 30 seconds, and then we're going to work our way up a little bit more into the hips and keep working the legs with lunges. And you can just do an alternating lunge. You can do a warrior lunge where your arms go straight up and you get that nice stretch up to the ceiling. All right, again with these, you don't want your knee to go past your toe like this. You don't want your weight to go forward. Your knee should be directly over your heel. You can reach up to the ceiling and keep your hands at your side. Again, 30 seconds, just alternating, working those legs and starting to hit the hips as well. From here, we're gonna get lower abs. We're gonna go hamstrings, hands on the hips, and we're just gonna do hip rotations. All right, we're gonna go 30 seconds in one direction, and then we'll switch, and then we'll go the other way. From here, what I like to do are twists. Again, we're gonna hit the lower back. Everything in the core area is gonna be worked when we throw kicks. So we need to make sure that we do warm it up. So we're going with these, again, 30 seconds of twists. And there's other exercises that you can do, like gate walks is another one that I really enjoy. So you're gonna bring your knees straight up, you're gonna keep your toes up high, then you're gonna bring your leg out 90 degrees. Nice and controlled, you're gonna touch your heel to the ground and you're gonna come right back up, forward, heel touches the ground, up, out, down, 30 seconds on this side, and then you'll switch. And this is also gonna help with balance as well. All right, gate walks, up, out, down, up, forward, and down. Okay, and like I said, you can mix it up. You can do variations of these. One last one that I really like to do before we get into our static stretches is side lunges. So you'll notice that these really do emulate going down into a static stretch, except we continue to move, and that's what a dynamic warm-up is. We're not in a static holding stretch. It's more of that mobility, so that we can get into the position and just warm the muscles up. So, toes are facing outward. We're gonna drop down to one side, up and to the other, up and to the other. And if this is too challenging, if you feel like when you get to about this point, you're already getting a stretch, then I want you to do other things like sumo squats. So you're gonna go toes out and drop all the way down. Not as much of a stretch here, but you're still gonna warm up the muscles. And remember, it's a process. You have to stick with it. You have to be doing your stretches 3-5 times a week, if not more. You can do them daily, absolutely. And with these stretches, whether it's dynamic or static, you can do them pretty much anywhere, in the office, while watching TV, while checking your phone, and that's the mentality that you need if you want to get flexible. Okay, so let's say you did about 3 to 5 minutes of a warm-up, you're sweaty now, and that's what you want. You want to be doing your jumping jacks, you want to be using a foam roller if you have one, or deep tissue massage, or even just take a hot shower. Get the muscles warm before we start to stretch them. Now from here you can go into your workout, right? You can do your shadow boxing, you can do your heavy bag, you can practice your kicks and what have you, and then you can get into your static stretching. Or if you're just focused on stretching today, dynamic warm up, then static stretches. Okay, so the first one that we're gonna do is probably my most hated one, is a hamstring stretch. So from your butt, legs are completely straight. And again, you wanna make sure that your hamstrings are warmed up before you get into doing these. And you're just going to try to bring your chest to your knees. You're going to try to reach for your feet. Why I say it's my most hated one, I have very tight hamstrings, all right? But we need hamstring flexibility in order to throw front snap kicks, in order to extend our leg for pretty much any kick, like roundhouse kicks and side kicks. With this stretch here, you want to make sure that your knees are not bent. The second that your knees start to bend, the stretch goes right out the window. You're not hitting your hamstrings anymore. So if you can't reach your toes, that's fine. Start here, right? Start with your hands on the ground. Start with your hands on your knees, but make sure that your legs are straight. With each of these static stretches, you want to do them twice, 30 seconds each. Okay, so I will go down for 30 seconds. Every time I exhale too, because I'm constantly breathing, I'm keeping my face and body relaxed, I want to feel myself fall closer into my knees, deeper into my stretch. So, and then never releasing, never coming back. Okay, after the 30 seconds of the first set, I'll shake it out a little bit, then I'll go back down, and you'll notice usually on the second set, you're a little bit more limber, and you can go a little bit lower into the stretch. Great, from here we're going to go into the butterfly stretch, and a common mistake that I see with this one is people go like this, and they wiggle their legs. And we're going to talk about ballistic stretching after this. A little controversial, all right? But what I want you to do, again, static. The definition of static is no change. So we're driving our knees down to the ground, and we're holding it. Static, no change, no movement at all. But constantly driving our knees down. I'm trying to get my knees closer and closer to the mat as I pull in all my toes and keep my heels close to my body. Again, 30 seconds, I relax, I take a quick break for about 5 to 10 seconds, and then I go right back into it for another 30, okay? From here, we're gonna go into our straddle stretch, or front or side split, depending on what you call it. And you probably can't get into this position from the start, and that's okay. You have to understand that, right? If you start from here in the beginning, then you slowly work your way out. Again, this is why you should be doing your stretches at least 5 times a week, if not daily, okay? You'll work at it, you'll get more flexible, eventually you'll get to a point where you can get that full 180 degrees straight leg across. Again, 30 seconds, we're gonna go to our left leg, 30 seconds, go to our right leg, 30 seconds forward, we'll rest, and then we'll do the same thing again, 30, 30, and 30, okay? From here, what we're gonna do is abs. Again, if we throw a kick, you have to think about it like that. It's hips, it's core, which is our abdominal muscles, and then yes, it is our legs. But we want to make sure that we're stretching our abs, and we do that by keeping our legs flat to the ground, hips down, arms straight, arch your back, look up to the ceiling, and you'll feel a stretch, especially after doing crunches and sit-ups. You'll feel this in your abdominal muscles. Great stretch here. Then we'll roll over to our back, and we'll hit our lower back. So pay attention to this one. It's going to be legs straight. We're going to take our right leg, put it over our left leg. Take our left hand, put the elbow at the knee, and we're going to push away and twist so that we feel it in our lower back. And when you do this stretch, I don't want you to do it to the point where your lower back cracks. We shouldn't crack our back, but we should feel a nice stretch. And once we start to feel it, that's when we're going to hold. It's going to be static. Okay? Again, lower back, abs, hips, hamstrings, quadriceps, glutes, calves. These are the muscles that we really need to warm up. These are the muscles that we need to stretch. When I do a full split, when I do that straddle, you can see that it does resemble a roundhouse kick, all right? So that's the motion, that's the sport-specific emulation that we want. Now let's talk about ballistic training. So this is a little controversial because in a college kinesiology class, they'll tell you to never do ballistic stretches. They say you'll be prone to injury because you're forcing your muscles to do things that they can't do naturally. And what a ballistic stretch is pretty much bouncing. It's what we talked about with the butterfly stretch. It's doing this. Maybe I can't get to this low of a position unless I'm rocking, bouncing into it. And the argument there is, well, if you keep doing it, you're gonna pull something because your muscles aren't flexible enough yet. And this is true. However, it's a good way to get to that position. It's a good way to get to that point. Ballerinas and gymnasts all do their ballistic stretches. The people in college in kinesiology classes are telling you not to do it. Who do you think has better flexibility? Probably the ballerinas and gymnasts. Now, that's not to say that you should be doing these all the time. I do them once a week. I limit them to once a week, so I find the middle ground. I understand that ballistic stretching can be done if you do it controlled and you do it correctly. However, it can cause injuries, so you need to be careful with them. What I recommend is doing a full warm-up, like I said, with a foam roller, deep tissue massage, dynamic warm-up, then your static stretches, so you're full limbered up, then you go into your ballistic stretches. So some examples of these are using a wall to practice your axe kicks or your high kicks. So I'm going to put my right hand on the wall and we're going to be focusing on our right leg. I'm just going to swing back and forward. I'm gonna try to get higher and higher with each kick, okay? Just sort of catching your leg, pushing it back down. And then what you can do from here is the side kick, and we're gonna face the wall now, and we're gonna swing through and up, through and up. And like I said, you want to try to get higher and higher. If you feel like you're on the brink of pulling something, obviously don't do it. You're not at that point yet, or you're forcing it too much. So what you're going to do here, again, 30 seconds, just try to remember it that way. You're going to go 30 seconds with your dynamic warm-ups, you're going to do 30 seconds twice with your static, and then 30 seconds each side with your ballistic stretches, but only do these once a week. Unless you feel comfortable to do more or uncomfortable, then don't do them at all. That's fine. You'll still be able to get your kicks up high if you're doing your mobility training and your static stretches. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I received a ton of messages regarding flexibility, so hopefully this answers any questions you may have. These are just a couple of the stretches that I do. If you want more routines that you can follow along to, we do live streams on myfightgym.com. So if you want to come take a class with me, click the link in the description below and become an all-access member today. Until next time, be sure to subscribe to get the fight tips before your opponent does. I'm Shane with Fight Tips. Self-defense for the underdogs.